Every human wants to make their mark in the world. Take a look at history. The caveman did cave paintings. The Egyptians left hieroglyphics. There's something intrinsically important about making a mark. The TED Talk I would like to present is about identity and the power of writing your name. Through this experience, I desire to show how writing your name and actually defacing public property, creating a persona larger than life, was the motivation and the inspiration for me personally to question everything around me. So I asked this question: at the feet of what example do we sit and honor the ideal of trust? My first bit of trust came from my parents who stayed together and raised our family. My brother and I trusted mom and dad to feed, clothe, and guide our infancy into adulthood. Outside of our family nucleus, it was the community that willingly intervened when they witnessed us acting out of character or out of sync with our values. For this, I am forever grateful. As we got older, we were taught to trust the institutions of religion, of government, of corporations. But I sensed an imbalance and a contradiction within their ideals, which clashed with my inner being. My family made sense. My community made sense. But the rest of the world began to smell like something totally strange. So I rebelled. And I wrote my name over everything. And you know something? It was the realest and most freeing experience of my teenage life. There was something magical about it. I devoted my life to this practice, and while the rest of the world viewed my writings as a crime, I felt like myself and hundreds of other young teenagers were freeing our minds one tag at a time. For me, this was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. For this practice of writing took years for me to master, to create a style. And although it was illegal, we never viewed it as a negative act. I'm sure you all are familiar with this art form. Mostly we call it graffiti. But we never called it graffiti. We always embraced ourselves as writers. I remember seeing the New York City subways with names inscribed on them like Revolt, Terror 161, Stay High 149, and Voice of the Ghetto. But one of the most important ones to me was a tag I would see on my way home: a challenge to be free. It just rang a bell with me. Like, I think one of the most important things human beings are always seeking is freedom. So I paid attention to this writing because every letter had style. It was crafted with the soul of the inscriber. This was no random act. It was the deliberate attack, and we actually called it bombing. Bombing the system with our names, our identity, our sense of freedom, our expression. I chose the name Pose 2, which stands for the Prophet of Self-Education. You see, I knew that this art form was very, very important. You know, I see myself as an artist with a mission. Today, I've had the opportunity to create beautiful works of art throughout the world, conducting workshops and lectures, always pushing this idea of freedom. So the TED Talk I like to present is about an unorthodox pathway to a shift in awareness, fueled by the unconquerable creative spirit. It is a saga of a teenage boy, of many teenage boys, who were within a subculture of fearless vandals, deemed outlaws, who unconsciously sought to find substance and truth in a world mired by delusion. Ultimately, this talk is the triumphant story of a boy from the hip-hop culture who transcended a world of darkness to that of light, using his own creative process titled Concrete Alchemy, the transformation of blank walls into massive monuments of abstract symbolism.